Live from the Hospital Hill Studios in Babane, it has just gone 10 o'clock Central Africa time. Good evening and welcome to the news brought to you by Swartan Television. I am Sanabo Ingwan. I'm with Makabiso Nkamulu. Begin here first, your headlines tonight. His Majesty King Mswati III says with the energy and focus of the bilateral relations between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Republic of India, the countries will grow together and reduce any social and economic disabilities. Their Majesties have summoned Lutsanga from the Hoho region for the Bua Ceremony at Buhlene Rural residence on the 21st of February 2025. And the African Development Bank President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina says ensuring that Africans have access to electricity will help ensure that women in Africa do not die of smoke when cooking. Good evening, the news in detail. Their Majesties have summoned Lutsanga from the Hoho region for the Bua Ceremony at Buhlene Rural residence on the 21st of February 2025. The command was delivered by the leader of the regiment in the Hoho region when making an announcement at Nganini.
Lalela, sukutshele, dindzaba yetibuye enkosini. Uyezwana ninebe kunene kulandzela simemetelo semaganu samhla ka7 emakhosi sabusise emalanga lamasha kuyo indlovane uSokandaba Lutsango lonke lakawowo Alphele sigodlweni ebuhleni mhla tingamashumi lamabili nalunye kuyothi mhla tingamashumi lamabili nakubili engomeni yakhe mhla tingamashumi lamabili natintsatfu ayachithwa amabutho ophezu kwemkhono usho njalo Mswati lomnyama kubakaluthuli ulo dumanda basembelebeleni ulo dumanda basemampontweni bayethe wena phakathi
His Majesty King Mswati III says with the energy and focus of the bilateral relations between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Republic of India, the countries will grow together and reduce any social and economic disabilities. His Majesty was speaking during the 76th Republic Day celebrations of the Republic of India, where His Majesty was represented by His Royal Highness Prince Sicalo.
The Office of the High Commissioner of the Republic of India in the Kingdom celebrated the 76th Indian Republic Day at the United Nations House in Babane. Local Indian nationals also had a chance to be part of this celebration. In this event, His Majesty King Mswati III was represented by His Royal Highness Prince Sicalo. Also present during the event were cabinet ministers and high commissioners and ambassadors representing their countries in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Eswatini and India relations are close, friendly and cordial. During the last decade, several important visits have taken place between the two countries, as His Majesty has also visited the Republic of India, while His Excellency the President also visited the Kingdom of Eswatini, and several agreements have been signed by the countries. His Majesty King Mswati III expressed gratitude to the President, government and the people of India for being intentional about growing and promoting the bilateral relations between the countries. The King was speaking through His Royal Highness Prince Sicalo.
We are confident that with this energy and focus, we will help our countries grow together and reduce any social and economic disparities as we empower our people. We do encourage all people and government officials to continue to make meaningful engagements in all opportunities that have been made available in the various exchange programs between our two countries. We believe that we are training trainers through these programs who will go back to our respective countries and share the experience, skills, and knowledge gained to others.
His Majesty also called upon the governments and people of both countries to lift up their sleeves and put on their best foot forward to ensure that the numerous capital projects, plans and goals are delivered upon.
It is imperative that all the targets we have set for ourselves are prioritized as we speak to the core mandate and needs of the people in special sectors such as growth in economy, health, healthcare, ICT, education, infrastructure, sustainable energy, culture, sports, social, and political, but to mention a few. It is our plea that we spring to action as our nation's slogan of Ngwe dictates. Let us jointly collective a spirit of mutual growth that will facilitate a boom in all our trade and investment drives as India and Emaswati.
The High Commissioner of the Republic of India, His Excellency Ram Prasad, highlighted on the various proactive and continuous engagement events of the Republic of India in the Kingdom.
This year too, as in the previous years, High Commission is sponsoring the India visit for 20-member handicraft cultural business delegation of Eswatini in the first week of February for the upcoming Surajkund Mela. I hope this would encourage them to make use of the opportunities available at the fair to establish contacts and further business prospects. As per the bilateral trade treaty, India has offered the most favored nation status to the Kingdom of Eswatini, and we hope that this would enable foster bilateral trade.
Through His Royal Highness Prince Sikalo, His Majesty proposed a toast to the long life and good health of the President, government, and the people of the Republic of India.
Now may I request all of you to raise your glasses and toast to the long life and good health of the President, government, and the people of India, of the Republic of India. To the President. I thank you. May the Almighty God bless us all.
As the Republic of India was celebrating the 76th Republic Day and 75 years India's constitution, the countries were also celebrating 55 years of friendship. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia with Tabiso Dlamini and Sambulo Masugu in Babane.
The African Development Bank President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina says ensuring that Africans have access to electricity will help ensure that women in Africa do not die of smoke when cooking. Dr. Adesina said this at the Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit held at Julius Nyerere Convention Center in Tanzania. African heads of state and government will join the summit on Tuesday, where Deputy Prime Minister Senator Thuli Ladla will represent His Majesty King Mswati III.
Speakers at the summit stated that access to electricity was not a sign of prestige, but it also spoke to issues of access to education and business, among others. World Bank President Ajay Banga said African countries have to work together to solve the issue of energy. Banga said the summit was a sign that there is political will to resolve the issue, and deliberate steps are being taken to ensure that 300 million people have access to energy by 2030. Banga said it is equally important to ensure that utility companies are properly funded so to deliver on this. He stressed the importance of having regional power sharing groups across Africa. African Development Bank President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina said what was key was ensuring that Africans reap the benefits of the summit. Dr. Adesina said resolutions should include increasing funding for electricity companies so that they can continue ensuring access to electricity for more people. He also said no more African women should die due to inhaling smoke when cooking. He said the dignity of African women can be restored while also saving their lives through ensuring access to electricity. African heads of state and government are expected to join the summit on Tuesday, where policy-changing decisions will be taken. For Swatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
The government's request for assistance in dealing with the sudden influx of refugees in the country has been heard. The European Union, under the YES project, have handed over essentials at Malinza refugee camp.
The EU ambassador was touring the Malinza camp, where he got the full essence of the situation of how people live at the camp.
I would want to first thank the government of Eswatini, the authorities, for welcoming people in distress, like for providing this shelter here in the Malinza camp for people who had left their countries already before, who have been living here for a couple of years even.
Estate manager at Malinza refugee camp, Bongile Mamba, thanked the EU for the help given and encouraged the nation to continue giving a hand at the camp. Mamba says plans to replenish the Nzevane refugee camp are well in progress. She also mentioned that there are 1,358 registered refugees at the camp.
Kulesimo lesi sisithine sibantu labaniketa bantu likhaya libe likhaya ngalokuphelele.
Mamba says their mandate is to create an atmosphere where people feel safe and at home. Thus, the essentials donated will play a huge role towards creating that. She pleads with companies and the nation to keep on supporting them in any way possible. The union handed over 100 blankets, 100 mattresses, and 100 sanitary pads, to mention a few. The European Union continues to work with government as they have allocated funds estimated to be 200,000 under the YES Project Response Fund following the arrival of refugees from Mozambique. Reporting is Patizwe Msibe, and report was compiled by Setabile Mamba together with Zondo Mlangeni at Malinza.
The timber industry is a major contributor to the country's economy. Montigny alone provides about 12,000 employment opportunities to Eswatini. The spokesperson, Sihle Mavuso, has also disputed talks that Montigny is taking all the markets for itself in the timber industry, leaving small and medium enterprises without business.
Montigny directly has an employment of over 700 Eswatini, who are hired directly by Montigny Group of Companies, both here at Usutu and in the south, in Hlangan. Then we have another 11,000 Eswatini who are hired through subcontracting and contractors by the small and medium enterprises, who are forming quite a huge chunk of our employment workforce. Yes, there are perceptions here and there about us taking all the work, but one thing that we know for sure and that which we do is that as a company, we do give opportunities to Eswatini through our tendering systems, which basically all the Swazis are put through a pre-qualification process, and they are given tenders or they are given contracts up to about 5 years maximum to do their work.
Some businesses who have been with Montigny since the 90s say they've been able to expand their businesses through the support of the company.
Montigny siqale kumatima sisuka eTigulumbeni early 90s and sasebenza ke kunglamuhla tabakhona timoto, but then ke timoto ukuthi na usebenza ehlathini sheshe ihohloke.
They say despite facing challenges during COVID-19, they were able to re-strategize and get back on their feet through the support of Montigny.
Sakhona ke vele kusimama kodwa ke sisazama siyembili siyethemba ukuthi itawuqhubeka isibambise.
The spokesperson says about 95% of their monthly budget is used to support local companies and individual employees. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mhlamba Nyatsi.
Now, close to 10 cooperatives have approached the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade to report mismanagement of funds and poor governance. This includes Lutsango Lwakangwane Savings and Credit Cooperative, which had about 1,000 members, but now it is left with only 200 members, as some have left due to investment in a property, which has left a 3 million Malanga deficit.
The Commissioner of Cooperatives says even though the ministry is sensitizing the nation on the ways of forming and running cooperatives, there are still gaps. He states that reforms are being implemented to strengthen the cooperatives movement in the country.
In the past year, we could say it's close to 10 cooperatives who have reported such incidences. One big cooperative, which is an apex, is Eswamco, and we instituted a forensic audit. Currently, we're still looking at that report from the auditor. And then with the others, we do on-site inspections, whereby we go randomly into their offices, whereby we demand to see their finances.
Concerning the Lutsango Lwakangwane cooperative, where there has been a deficit of 3 million emalangeni, he says they look to recapitalize the sector.
With Lutsango, we're still working around to see how we can probably recapitalize them. We're not promising anything, but we are in talks with a number of people on how we can recapitalize them. And obviously, once we do that, we'll have to closely monitor their operations.
According to the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, cooperatives' assets currently stand at 5 billion emalangeni, with 3 billion emalangeni in members' savings. In total, Eswatini has 1,245 cooperatives. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Babane.
Right, and just like that, we segue into the world of business, where we take a look at financial indicators to get a sense of how our markets performed today in the Up Next Financial Report.
Standard Bank.
Right, and we also have to visit the International Sugar Organization to see how global markets performed in the sales of sugar internationally. Now, schools are expected to open for the first term of 2025. The Ministry of Education says it is aware of the need for schools to have all the necessary resources to commence work smoothly. The acting principal secretary in the Ministry of Education, Nanik Mnisi, says the ministry has paid 16 million emalangeni, benefiting 200 schools in the whole region and Shiselweni region under the free primary education program.
With schools anticipated to reopen on Tuesday, the 28th of January 2025, the news team paid a visit to Bunya Primary School to assess its preparedness for the new term. The school is among those that were damaged by heavy storms. The school's deputy Daphne Litchfield says come Tuesday, they will be ready to welcome roughly 900 pupils.
Cishe konke sekulungile but kudla nje kude abantwana ngeke badle kusasa kusengefiki kudla.
Litchfield says although refurbishment is well underway, there are some necessities that have not been disbursed to the school. She says the biggest concern is that of the unavailability of food, which will carry a negative impact on pupils. President of Eswatini Principals Association, Armstrong Dlamini, highlights some of the challenges faced by many schools.
Kodwa nje siyamthemba uhulumende ukuthi uyalungisa. Litawuthi kumbele ngaphela iviki sitawuva kubalingani ngoba nathi sithemba bona lokuthi sinze bona.
He says their worry is that of the outstanding OVC grants and food. Dlamini says resources such as stationery have been provided. He adds that books and other necessities are being delivered at snail's pace. Dlamini says despite these challenges, they are optimistic that the ministry will speed up the supply of food and other resources to help schools. Acting Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Nani Kimnisi, explains the processes undertaken by the ministry to ensure the timely delivery of food and disbursement of funds to schools.
We also want to thank the head teachers for those two regions and encourage the other two regions, Lubombo and Manzini, to work very hard towards ensuring a seamless exercise of payments of the FPE grants. On the issue of OVCs, we want to assure the nation and the parents and children that the Deputy Prime Minister's office is working very hard towards paying the OVC grants.
The ministry continues to urge school principals to desist from charging additional top-up fees and the habit of withholding academic results for pupils with outstanding balances. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I'm Notilesi Tole with Smuva Shongwe, Bunya.
Right, in our sports news, the president of the Eswatini Olympic and Commonwealth Games Association, Yoga Adam Bomba Mthethwa, has announced that Maxwell Jele, who has been the association's CEO, will continue serving in this position for the next 4 years. He will also oversee the work of the new standing commissions focused on advancing sports development in the country. The commission is made of board members and other associations leaders from different sporting codes under the Olympic movement. Mthethwa made these announcements during a statutory meeting of the association's members held at Happy Valley Hotel at Zulwini.
Part of the induction, the board has zoned in on critical projects that will be rolled out over the next 4 years. These include the launch and implementation of the recently developed high performance strategy, which will hopefully lead us to an Olympic podium finish in the next 12 years. The strategy will be launched sometime next month.
Staying with that story, the association CEO Maxwell Jele expressed his gratitude for being reappointed to this position. He stated that his key focus on his work will be preparations for the 2028 Olympic Games. Jele revealed that the scholarship funds for the athletics will increase from $7,500 to $9,000.
Selection of these athletes, application and selection of these athletes, which is probably going to start in May this year. There is a positive development because in the past we were receiving a contribution of $7,500 from Olympic Solidarity per month, which means that was mainly catering for 5 athletes under the scholarship program. There is an increase from Olympic Solidarity for the new quadrennial up to $9,000. So which means that we're increasing the allocation from 5 to 6.
Right, and just like that, we hit the home stretch of the news at 10 here at Eswatini TV. Before we go, here's a quick reminder of our top stories tonight. His Majesty King Mswati III says with the energy and focus of the bilateral relations between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Republic of India, the countries will grow together and reduce any social and economic disparities. Their Majesties have summoned Lutsango from the Hoho region for the Bua Ceremony at Buhleni Royal Residence on the 21st of February 2025. And the African Development Bank President Dr. Akiwunywa Desina says ensuring that Africans have access to electricity will help ensure that women in Africa do not die of smoke when cooking. Right, and just like that, we have come to the conclusion of the news at 10 at Eswatini TV. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for choosing to stay with us. Up next, we'll cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the team at Eswatini TV. For now, it is good night and God bless.
We need to have an honest conversation about, the experience that people come with as a psychologist, being put into that space for you.